I did start this a little early. I'm gonna wait another 2 minutes, see if anyone joins us. Uh, that joins my live stream here. If anyone notices any flickering in the back, towards the background, I do have the TV on in front of me that I am going to peek at from time to time. And if there's anything breaking, I will mention it. Anything important or relevant to what we're saying, I will mention it. So I said I'd start at 5:30 and we are going to wait. And it is now 5:30 on the dot. So I wanted to do this because there's a lot of people politicizing tragedies, and to me that upsets me a lot. Uh, as soon as this shooting happened in Texas, there were people out uh, chanting for assault weapons bans, calling for taking away the Second Amendment, and there were politicians doing this. And to me, it seemed like everybody, or not everyone, I'm sorry, it looked like there was a lot of people politicizing a tragedy. And I'm not okay with that. Okay. I'm not okay with turning the deaths of 19 children and two teachers into a political issue. That's not okay to me. And to use their lives and their deaths to push an agenda is not okay. All right. And I want to give everyone the assurance that there is nobody that is pro gun and of sound mind that is also in favor of allowing our children to be killed in any manner. All right. So I want to get that out of the way. There is no person of sound mind that is sitting there saying, well, if kids die, not a big deal. That is not, I repeat, that is not the message that we want to send. And that is not the message that we're going to be putting out. Not at all. Okay. Frankly, I'm pissed off that this shooter was allowed to be able to commit the crime that he committed. Okay. For me, I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure you do too. And I just want to know how this was allowed to happen, if there were any signs that were missed, uh, and how long that door was broken on that school. Because quite frankly, it come to find out that the teacher did close the door uh, that he got in through, but it wouldn't lock. Well, why wouldn't it lock? How long has that been an issue? Did anyone know about that issue? Did it just happen to break that day? It's kind of coincidental and not in a good way. All right. So those are some questions, but people are crying out that he bought a firearm without a background check. No, he went through a background check. I had someone post on my political blog, my political rants on Facebook, that the shooter was an illegal immigrant. I have seen no documentation to prove that. I have seen no evidence to prove any of that. And as far as I know, that uh, rumor has been debunked. Uh, and so, if he had been an illegal immigrant, there's no way he would have passed a background check to get the firearm that he did purchase legally. And now there's a controversy. He's 18 years old. Should he be allowed to buy an AR-15? Yes, absolutely. Not not to commit murder. No one should be allowed to purchase a firearm to commit murder. It is actually already illegal to purchase a firearm for the purpose of committing a crime. Okay? So, should someone who is 18 years old be allowed to purchase a rifle or a shotgun? Yes. Should someone who's 18 years old be allowed to purchase a handgun? I don't see why not. Now, it is 21 to purchase a handgun in the United States. Uh, that is federal law as far as I know. And I do hear a lot of people talking about people not going through background checks. And I want to make something perfectly clear. Any firearm sale done through an FFL does require that that person goes through a background check. Okay. There is no way around that. There is no way to circumvent that, not legally anyway. Now, with that said, there's a lot of states, Massachusetts included, that does allow for private person to person sales of firearms. And those sales do not need to go through a background check. Now, we're only allowed to do a certain number of sales per year. I believe it's 3 person to person private sales before we have to go through an FFL and have the FFL do a background check. Because the state of Massachusetts feels that if you're selling more than 3 firearms per year, that you're making a business out of it. I can understand that. I do understand the uh, the way that they're going forward with this. Do I agree with such restrictions for person-to-person sales? I do not. Um, because let's face it, if I had to go through an FFL to make a firearm sale, now I have to pay them to do a background check. Now I have to take one of their salespeople off the floor to do a background check for a sale that I'm doing to someone else, and they're not making any money off that particular sale. Now they will charge me to do the background check, so they are making some money on that, but they also have to pay a fee to do the background check. So why should I have to take up the time of one of their employees in order to sell something that's not one of their products? That's an interesting question, and there's no actual answer for that other than because the state of Massachusetts says so. Uh, but Massachusetts is weird because we do allow our citizens with a license to carry firearms, but we do not allow our citizens to buy fireworks. And our state officials have stated clearly that they do not feel that the residents of the state are capable of responsibly using fireworks. I have reached out to my state rep, Sean Dooley, who is now running for state senate. I endorse him completely. I worked with him on the school committee. I've talked with him as when he was a state rep. I went down to see him, and I gave him my idea for legislation in Massachusetts to legalize fireworks. And he and his team went through and they actually wrote that legislation up. It didn't go anywhere, uh, but you know what? He helped me out. He got that paperwork, that legislation written out. So now I have that all written. All I have to do is give it back and have someone submit it again and keep doing it. Now, the way that I wrote that legislation or the way I outlined it and they reworded it, worded it out in legislative form was to require someone have at least an FID card, which is a firearms identification card in Massachusetts, in order to buy fireworks. Now, I know there's a lot of people that, well, why do you need a firearms license? Well, right now we can't buy them, period. So why not allow people who are legally responsible enough to have firearms to be able to buy fireworks and you tie misuse of the fireworks to the firearms license? To me, that's a no brainer. But unfortunately, no brainers are who we have serving in our state legislature for the most part. There are some decent, upstanding guys down there and ladies, but for the most part, this is a Democrat run state. Even our governor, Charlie Baker, in my view and in many other people's views, is a rhino. For those that don't understand the term rhino, that means Republican in name only. Once in a while, he will throw the party a bone and do something Republican, but for the most part, he's not on our side. Now, hopefully, our next governor will be a Republican and he will be on our side. However, we have a habit of switching in this state. So there's a really good chance that our next governor is going to be a Democrat. I'm not happy about that. The candidate that I think will most likely be the Democratic nominee is currently the Attorney General for Massachusetts, Mara Healey. She is a horrible Attorney General. She's arguably actually worse than Martha Coakley, and Martha Coakley was a shit show. Um, Mara Healey had decided on her own that she was going to reinterpret the state's assault weapons ban and single handedly stop the sale of any AR 15s in the state of Massachusetts. Now, there's a caveat to that, and that is that AR 15s that were owned prior to her reinterpretation of the legislation are still legal to own and are still legal to transfer from one person to another. And stores can still sell those as used firearms as long as they were previously purchased prior to the reinterpretation of the ban. Uh, and all that's really done, guys, is that has increased the cost of buying an AR-15 in the state of Massachusetts. An M&P 15 Sport, which is anywhere else probably a $350 to $400 firearm. In Massachusetts, prior to Mara Healey, was about a $600 firearm. Now, that same firearm, $1,500 easily. And that's in used condition, not brand new. You can't buy them brand new. Now you can buy an AR-15 22, an AR-15 chambered in 22 long rifle, and that's fine. You can have a 100 round drum magazine of 22, and probably no one's going to say anything. You do a 100 round drum of 223, and people are going to be upset. And now, just so people are aware, in Massachusetts, you can still have these quote unquote high capacity magazines. However, those magazines have to have been in the state prior to the original assault weapons ban, and they have to be marked as being in here prior to the original assault weapons ban. I don't know what those marks look like, but uh, there are exceptions for law enforcement personnel. Uh, Law enforcement officers in this state can have any firearm they want with any size magazine that they want. Uh, I think that the civilians should have the same ability, and I'm hoping that if we get a Republican governor reelected into the state house, and we get some decent Republicans elected into our state legislature, and hopefully get a really good Republican attorney general, that maybe we can start rolling back some of these restrictions that the Democrats have put in place. Now, the laws that they have written, we can't. We can if we get enough Republicans down on Beacon Hill, but right now, I don't foresee that happening. But a Republican attorney general can stop the enforcement of the attorney general's approved firearms list and can also undo the enforcement action of reinterpreting the assault weapons ban and reallow sales of new AR-15s that are still compliant with the original assault weapons ban that the state has. Now, for those that don't know, in Massachusetts, for an AR-15 to be considered an assault rifle, it must have two or more of the following features: a pistol grip, a bayonet lug, a collapsible or adjustable stock. And I think there's something else. I think grenade launchers on there too, but I mean, I'll take a grenade launcher over a pistol grip any day long, any day. Be hard as hell to fire that thing though. and buying the ammunition for it would be tough as hell too. But it just goes to show the stupidity that legislators do because they think it makes sense. Now, we have a lot of people in this country that want the government to pass a new law so that they can feel safe. These people don't understand that there's a difference between feeling safe and being safe. Okay. The COVID-19 mask mandates made people feel safe. It didn't actually make people safe, it made people feel safe. Okay. And to me, that is just foolish. I don't want people to feel safe. I want people to be safe. And no, limiting my rights to own and bear arms does not make anybody safe. Okay. Restricting anybody's rights to own and bear arms does not make anybody safer. Okay. There's so many laws on the books right now for firearms that it's crazy. And we have a president of the United States right now who has said in an interview when he was vice president of the United States that if someone breaks into your house, take a double barreled shotgun and fire two blasts into the air outside your window. That is just crazy. You don't ever do that. That is called negligent discharge of a firearm. Okay. And you don't know where those rounds are coming down. You don't do that. That is irresponsible. You will lose any in Massachusetts, you would lose your firearms license. You would lose your right to own and bear arms if you fired a shotgun outside the window of your house because someone broke in. No, no, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not your lawyer. Do not do it. If someone breaks into your house, shoot them. Period. Now, there was a news story I saw recently, and I think it happened about a week ago. There was a woman in Texas. She had moved because she had someone stalking her. Well, from what I read in the article, she had people over at her new place when this alleged stalker kicked in the door to her place and she shot him and killed him. And that is what you should do in those situations. That gets a round of applause from me. Uh, and you know what? You know what the recidivism rate is of people who get shot and killed while committing a crime? Zero. Zero recidivism rate. Why? Because they're dead. Now, I feel bad that she had to shoot someone. And I feel bad for the family of the guy that she killed. But if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, guys. Okay? So you need to make sure that you're not playing stupid games. Don't be stalking people. Don't be kicking in their doors. I'll tell you right now, the door to my house is locked. But it's not locked for my protection. It's locked for your protection. You break into my house, you're probably not leaving, not alive. Uh, but you know what? That's my right. I have the right to defend myself. I have the right to defend my castle. I have the right to defend my family. So let's put it this way: she did 100%. She was 100% right in what she did. Uh, I don't know how long the guy was attempting to kick in her door, and I've heard people say, "Well, she just should have called the cops." She did call the cops after she shot the guy. There's no reason that she needs to wait for the police to respond. Okay. You need to be your own first responder. All right. You need to be the one ready to step up and protect yourself because anytime you need the police, they're only minutes away. But those minutes can mean the difference between you living and you dying. Okay. I don't want to wait that long. I don't want to wait 3 minutes. I don't want to wait 1 minute for the police to show up. And trust me, I can't carry a cop in my back pocket. I tried, he got mad. Uh, and you know what? The cops that are in my town, I know a lot of them. They're great people. Okay. I know a lot of police officers, and they're really great people. They will step in, they risk their lives to protect you. But you know what? The Supreme Court ruled that there's no obligation for police to intervene to save your life. Okay. There's people that want to sue the police department in Uvalde, Texas for their lack of action during that mass shooting event. Okay. There's a really good chance that they are not going to win their case. It's just water, guys. Um, and why not? Because if it's true that the Supreme Court said that the police have no obligation to do anything, then the civilians can't hold them to a responsibility that they don't have. Uh, you know, do I think that the cops should have gone in quicker? Absolutely. Uh, and I want to applaud that Customs and Border Protection agent that left a haircut and grabbed a shotgun from his barber and went down there and went into that school and told the cops that he was doing it and he didn't care what they had to say. Okay. That guy is a hero. Okay. He might not have shot anyone. I don't know how many people he managed to get out of that school. Okay. And yes, his wife was a teacher at that school. His daughter is a student at that school, but that doesn't matter. I guarantee you that, well, I can't guarantee, I don't know his mindset, but I'll bet you that even if that wasn't his daughter's school, if he was nearby, he probably would have done the same thing. I know I would. Oh, hell yeah. See, here's the difference though. I have training for it. He has training for it. There's a lot of us that have training for these type of situations, and that brings me up to a point that has been brought up before, and that is arming teachers. Okay. I know this is a touchy subject for a lot of people. Um, and so first and foremost, I am not in favor of forcing teachers to be armed. That's foolish. There's a lot of people that have they try to propagate that misinformation that myself and people like me are in favor of forcing teachers to be armed. We're not. I'm also not in favor of schools purchasing the firearms for the teachers. Uh, any teacher that wants to be armed should be allowed to be, and they should be allowed to use one of their personal firearms they are comfortable with using. And I am personally in favor of a intensive training program for any school staff member or teacher that wishes to be armed at a school. Why? Why would I be in favor of intensive training for such a person? Because schools are a dynamic environment, guys. There's a lot going on. If you've never been in a school as an adult uh, while it's in session, you're not going to realize the amount of moving parts that go into place to keep a school functional uh, throughout the school day. And to have someone armed that's just comfortable with that firearm and they've gone to the range and, they think they can handle themselves pretty well isn't enough. It might be in some situations, but in my mind, it's not enough. You need specialized training. And I know that there's a lot of people that don't want to go through that training, and I get it. I don't want someone to be armed that doesn't want to be armed. I don't want someone to be armed that isn't comfortable being armed. Okay? There's a difference. We don't need to force people to carry a gun. We shouldn't force people to carry a gun. Okay? I want someone who's responsible, someone who's ethical, someone who is conscious of the decision that they're making. Now, there's a lot of people that are teachers right now that are former military or former law enforcement. Those people should be allowed to carry a firearm. I'm in favor of allowing veterans to take jobs working armed security at schools. Why? We've got the training, we've got the experience. We know what to do in these situations, guys. You know, it's it's a completely different mindset going to work every day, knowing that there's a chance that you might have to take someone's life. Nobody wants to take someone's life. Well, no sane person wants to take someone's life. No one, and those that carry firearms aren't carrying a firearm sitting there going, "Oh, I hope I get to use this today. I hope I get to shoot someone." No, just think about it. You have auto insurance for your car, right? Most states require it. Why? In case you get into an accident, you have that protection. Why not have that protection strapped to your hip in case something happens? Why not have that little extra added layer of security to make sure that you and your family and those around you can be safe? Okay. We have a Second Amendment in this country for a reason. Our founding fathers wanted to make sure that we were able to defend ourselves against a tyrannical government, period. That is why the Second Amendment exists. It does not exist for hunting. It did not exist for any other reason, protecting ourselves against the government. And Mr. Biden, Mr. President, sir, you're wrong about the Constitution not being constitutional rights not being absolute, and that there are always being restrictions on the Second Amendment. Yes, people could own cannons back in the days of the founding of this country and the writing of the Second Amendment. Uh, it's a fact. People owned ships. They put the cannons on their ships, and they used the cannons to defend the ships. I wouldn't be surprised if people had cannon in their front yard too. It was the way it was. Any firearm that the government had, civilians could have. And that was the intent of the Second Amendment. Okay. Now, do I think that everybody and their brother should be able to have a nuclear weapon? No. That might require a little bit more of a background check. But we shouldn't allow our government, who works for us, it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, to restrict the people on our rights. Because first it's going to be AR 15s, and then it's going to be 9mm pistols. Then it's going to be 22 caliber pistols. It's going to be 40s and 45s and 38s and 357s and 44s and the 50 Magnum Desert Eagle, and then before you know it, we're not going to have any firearms that we can legally own. And people are going to sit there and go, how'd this happen? It happened because we let it happen, and we can't let it happen. Look at what's happening in Canada right now, guys. Okay. Canada is putting a freeze on the purchase, sale, transport, import of handguns. Okay. Mr. Trudeau, was it President Trudeau or Prime Minister Trudeau or asshole Trudeau? I don't know. Moron. Uh, Although he's a little more coherent than our president, but he's still a moron. Uh, has said that the Canadian people don't need firearms in their everyday life. Well, he needs to shut the hell up because I'm pretty sure, just like our president, he has armed security around him 24/7. Uh, Anyone following or watching this in Canada, please comment below if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has 24-hour protection, and those protecting him are armed to the teeth, just like those protecting our president are armed to the teeth. What makes our president or your president in Canada or any president or elected official more important than any member of the public? Any member of the public can hold an elected office. Okay. They're not special. Okay. They do not deserve extra protection that we can't do. Now, wealthy individuals can hire their own bodyguards. I can't afford to do that. Okay. I can't afford to hire a group of people to stand around me all day armed to protect me should something happen. Nor should I have to hire someone to do that. Okay. I'm capable of defending myself. And no, that firearm that a lot of people carry is not a crutch. Okay. I can defend myself with my fists, but there comes a point where maybe my fist won't be enough, or maybe I got to defend you, and there's a group of people coming after you, and now I got to even the playing field. Okay. Would you rather me just let them attack you, or would you rather me be able to stop them? I'd rather you be able to stop them too. Okay. So we need to work together to make sure that we can maintain our constitutional rights. So far, I've got no people watching, but I'm going to keep going because this needs to be said. Okay. And this will be posted up there later so people can watch later on. All right. I served in two branches of the military, guys. I was in the Air Force and I was in the Army. Okay. I was actually Army National Guard, what some people call Nasty Girl, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. We all pick on each other. It's all good fun. Uh, if you're a vet, shout out below, guys. I always like my fellow vets, guys. If you're active duty, hell yeah. Oh, okay. So shout out to all active duty military, all veterans. And those of you that are getting ready to go in, leaving for basic training soon, good on you. Get you some. Okay. You're going to see what I'm talking about uh, earning freedom and freedom having a different taste for those of us that have fought for this. Okay. When you serve your country in uniform, freedom takes on a flavor that most people won't ever be able to taste. Why? Because we give up a lot of our freedoms when we put that uniform on. If I was still in the military, guys, I wouldn't be able to come on here and do some of the posts that I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to criticize our president, okay? Because I could be court-martialed for that. Okay? You don't have freedom of speech when you're in the military. Okay? You don't have a lot of freedoms. But we preserve those freedoms for everyone else. Okay? So we need to be able to push forward, and we need to be smart about this. Okay. We need to make sure that we don't allow our government to overpower us and to make us helpless. Okay. Now, there's a lot of people out there on social media and elsewhere that have immigrated to this country from elsewhere legally, and they've made their money spouting their beliefs and their opinions, and that's fine. I'm not going to knock them. You know, if I could make money doing that, I would. But here's the thing, they want to turn America into the country that they left. Okay. That's not the point of coming to America. Okay. You can't come to a country and use our freedoms to preach restricting our freedoms. Because once we lose our right to own and bear arms, what next? Is the government going to come out and say that you're not allowed to speak critical of the commander in chief of the armed forces? That you're not allowed to disagree publicly with the president of the United States? You know, are they going to sit there and say that you can't speak negatively about any policies put forth by our elected officials? I'm not okay with restricting rights, guys. I'm not. And I will shout out and use my voice and use my platforms, uh, and I will speak out. Okay. Now, another thing I want to mention before I get into a little bit more here is I've seen a lot of posts online from mostly Democrats out there saying that the Republican Party is trying to strip gay rights from people and try to revoke gay marriage. I have seen no evidence of this. I put that into another video that I made. And once again, I'm going to say if you find evidence that there's members of the Republican Party that are trying to strip rights from anybody, please post them in the comments below. Okay. Now I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that we're going to start posting about abortion and abortion rights. Um, that was a whole nother video, guys. I already hashed that out. How, in my views, the Supreme Court ruling was incorrect. Whether you support abortion or not, the Supreme Court ruling in that case was incorrect. Okay. Abortion is not protected by the Constitution. It is not a constitutionally protected right. And if you want to use the right to privacy as the protection for abortion, then the right to privacy also allows me to own any firearm I want without the government having any say so. If you agree with one, you must agree with the other, right? Well, the right to privacy doesn't protect my right to own and bear arms. It doesn't allow me to own any firearm I want. The Second Amendment does that. So please show me in the Constitution where it says the right of the people to have an abortion shall not be infringed. If you can find that in there, then mad props. It's not there. Now, that doesn't mean that we should completely outlaw abortion. Okay. Abortions in the cases of medical necessity, I is fine. It's the right thing to do. If it's a medical necessity, then do it. In the event of rape or incest, I do understand the desire at times to have that abortion. Okay. I can understand it. Are there other options I would like to see used? Absolutely. But am I going to sit there and force someone to carry a rape baby? No. No. But this is the 21st century. And if you don't know by now that having sex without a condom can get you pregnant, you need to go back to sex ed. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It's common sense these days that unprotected sex leads to pregnancy. Now, condoms aren't 100% effective either. And I know someone's going to say that, and birth control is not 100% effective either. And I know people are going to bring that up. And I understand that. Okay. But they are pretty, pretty damn effective. Okay. The likelihood of you being that 1 in a million that it fails on is not likely. Okay. And if you're worried about that seriously, double wrap it. Double wrap it. So now I have another video posted on here where I did an interview with Alex Haggerty from the Log Cabin Republicans of Greater Boston. Shout out. Awesome guy. If you get a chance, check him out. Check out that video and check out the Log Cabin Republicans of Greater Boston. Check out Log Cabin Republicans main page too and get involved with them, especially if you're worried about the GOP trying to take gay rights away. Get involved with the Log Cabin Republicans. These are the LGBTQ plus voices in the Republican Party. Probably next month, guys, I am going to be signing up for a membership. Right now, I just can't afford to. I know it's only $50, but right now, I put $60 worth of gas in my car on Sunday, and it didn't even fill the car, and I've already used like half a tank. Well, not a half a tank, quarter of a tank. And that's another thing, guys. This E15 that they're putting out there, some gas stations have it, some don't. For those that aren't aware, E15 is 15% ethanol, 85% gasoline, which means right now you're paying $5 a gallon for gas, roughly on average. And Massachusetts just bumped up to about $5 a gallon. And it's only 85% fuel, 15% ethanol. Okay. You're burning gas faster because you're getting less fuel. You're filling your tanks up, but you're going through gasoline faster. Okay. This isn't helping us. gas. Okay. I'd rather have E0, okay, than E10 or E15. Okay. So I'm getting really sick of these high gas prices. Those of you that voted for Biden, this is your fault. We told you this was going to happen. I know I posted it several places before. Uh, and at the time, I was working in the gas station C store industry, and I had said that if Biden was elected, that fuel would be over $3 a gallon within a year. And it happened. And now we're entering summer, guys, and gas prices are at $5 a gallon. I'm predicting that they're going to be about $6.50 on average per gallon for regular unleaded by midsummer. Okay. So, or let's just say 4th of July. By 4th of July, I'm predicting that gasoline will be around $6.50 a gallon. You know, give or take a little bit depending on where you are. Alaska and Hawaii are going to be exponentially higher, you know, and there's going to be other places that are going to be higher, but I think the national average will probably be somewhere around $6.50 by July 4th. This president doesn't have any willingness to do anything to curb that. As a matter of fact, members of his cabinet have said if gas prices are too high, just buy an electric vehicle. Well, that's fantastic. I can't afford to fill my car up with gas for $70. Let me go and spend $50,000 on a brand new freaking electric vehicle. Dumbass. All right. So, you know, we just we need to come together as a people, guys. We need to work together as Americans. We need to work together as human beings. And we need to show our government that we're not going to take this crap. Okay. We're not going to allow them to sit here and belittle us and talk down to us and try to make us feel like we're little children and they're our parents. It's not the way it's supposed to work. Okay. It's not the way our founders wanted it to be. I believe that. I believe that they wanted a government that was going to be fair to the people, not a government that was going to sit here and try to tell us that they know better than us. They don't. Now, Joe Biden wants to get a lot of laws passed, and some of these things are already illegal, guys. He wants to make ghost guns illegal. Now, for those that aren't familiar with the term ghost gun refers, in this case, to firearms that are manufactured without serial numbers. They're untraceable. Sometimes they're 3D printed. Okay. They're already illegal in this country. It is already illegal to have a firearm, a modern firearm, that does not have a serial number. It is already illegal to manufacture a firearm by yourself without a special permit. Now, I want to be really clear. If you bought a lower receiver from a gun store or a gun show and it has a serial number on it, you filled out the forms, you did your background check, and then you put together that lower receiver and you build a rifle that is not manufacturing a firearm. What I'm talking about is people who buy those 90% lowers or 85% lowers, or even just buy a block of aluminum and have it milled out to a lower receiver. That is illegal without a permit. You need to have a firearm manufacturing permit in order to do that. And then you have to get a serial number for that firearm. It's simple. It's already there. It's already codified in the laws. Okay, you 3D print a firearm off your with your 3D printer. It is illegal to possess that firearm. It just is. Okay, whether I like it or not, it is. Okay, so we can't sit here and try to make laws to make things illegal that are already illegal. That is called redundancy. It's ridiculous. Okay, we don't we don't need to do it now. Uh, People in on the left also want to close what they call the gun show loophole. This gun show loophole does not exist, and I want to be perfectly clear about this. When you go to a gun show and you're purchasing a firearm, and that person selling you that firearm has an FFL, a federal firearms license, they are required to do a background check on you. Okay, if they do not do a background check, they are breaking the law. They can lose their firearms license and they can go to prison. Okay, it's it's already the law. Okay, expanding background checks isn't going to do anything except, like I said previously in this video, of forcing me to take more of my time and a friend's time that I'm selling a firearm to, and a salesperson's time at a local firearm store to have them do a background check, and then I got to pay them to do that background check. You know, it's simpler in Massachusetts. We can do it all online. I put in my firearms license number. The person I'm selling it to puts in their we put in their firearms license number, and it'll automatically come up and tell me if it's valid or not. And then I make the sale. We fill out all the information, the firearm, the serial number, blah 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 blah, and it sends it off. What happens with it at that point? I don't know. Massachusetts doesn't have a quote unquote firearms registry, um, but they do keep track of who buys and sells. So, making laws aren't going to change anything, guys. Adding new laws to the books aren't going to solve the problem. Okay. Making an AR-15 illegal isn't going to stop a mass shooter, because then they'll use a pistol, they'll use something else. It happens. Okay, there were mass shootings when the original assault rifle ban was in place. Okay, it's just it's sad that these shootings happen. Okay, I'm heartbroken at the loss of life that's involved. Okay, but to jump to the conclusion that it's the gun's fault is just foolish. Okay, when a police officer shoots someone, we blame the police officer. When a maniac shoots someone, we blame the gun. What's up with the double standard? Okay, now I want to also state that another thing that people have called for is banning automatic weapons. Well, automatic weapons are virtually already banned. They're not completely banned. There's ways that people can buy them. There's special permits that are required, tax stamps, uh, really intensive process, long waiting periods, and the sales tax on them is freaking crazy expensive. Okay. And from my understanding, the automatic weapon needs to be older than 1985, which means, guys, it's going to be almost as old as me. I'm 42. Okay. Born in 1980. So that firearm is 5 years younger than me. All right. For a firearm, that's old. Okay. Especially an automatic firearm with all those rounds being put through it. Okay. Do they serve a practical purpose? No, but they're fun as hell to shoot. You're not going to take a my deuce out hunting, but you're going to take it to the range and you're going to put down a box of ammo and you're going to have a blast doing it. Okay. But I guarantee you, if you have one of those, you know, you've got a lot of money. Okay. It's not a firearm that just anybody's going to buy. Okay. And for those that don't know, the Madus, the M2 machine gun, is badass. Google it. Watch those videos. Um, so I got to shoot the Saw when I was in the in the Army, squad automatic weapon. I also got to shoot the 240 Bravo. Huh. Fun guns to shoot. Not something I'd want to be carrying around all day in the field. Is you know you get tired real quick. Give me an M4, M16. I'll be good. And that's another thing I want to bring up, guys. The AR-15 is not an M16. An M16 is a select fire weapon, so you can switch between semi-automatic, usually 3-round burst, and fully automatic. Okay, and you cannot do that with an AR-15. Okay, no, AR in AR-15 does not stand for assault rifle. It does not stand for automatic rifle. It stands for Armalite rifle. Okay, Armalite was the first company that got the tax stamp. I'm sorry, not the tax stamp. They were the first company to get the patent for the AR-15. Okay, they were the original manufacturers of the AR-15. So that is that weapon. But why is the AR-15 the target for the left? Because it looks scary. It's the only thing I could think of, you know. And they talk about banning military style weapons, and the AR-15 is classified in their mind as a military style weapon. Why? Because it looks like an M16, and a lot of the functionality is similar, but functionally it's different. Aesthetically, it's the same. Functionally, it's different. But if you want to talk about banning military style weapons, the M9 Beretta, also known as the Beretta 92F, was the most common sidearm for the military until just recently, and now they moved to a SIG. The model 1911, okay, was a 45 caliber pistol that was used prior to that, and there were still some military units currently, mostly special forces guys, that are still using the 1911. Okay, there's shotguns being used in the military. There's bolt action rifles being used in the military. So you can't just sit here and classify something and say military style weapon, we're going to ban it, because you're going to ban a whole bunch of commonly used firearms. And I'm going to go to another gaffe that the president made, although he doesn't think it's a gaffe, where he said that a 22 caliber bullet will lodge in the lung or stop at the lung and can be removed, and a 9mm bullet will blow the lungs out of the body. That one right there makes me laugh. It's stupid. It's nonsensical. If a doctor told him that, that doctor is a moron. Okay. I don't believe any doctor at any hospital told him that. And if they did, again, they're either morons or they were joking and he didn't know they were joking. Okay. 22 caliber rounds, while not being extremely powerful, bounce around a lot inside the body. They do a lot of damage. A 9mm round is going to penetrate and dissipate a lot of its force. If you use hollow points, as I prefer and a lot of people prefer, then there's a really good chance you're not going to get an exit wound. Okay, that's the whole point of hollow points, is to prevent the through and through. Wow, I'm approaching an hour on this video. I don't know how many people are going to watch this all the way through. I feel like I got a lot of information out there for this video. I was hoping that I was going to have some viewers and maybe have some questions, allow people to ask questions and we can go back and forth. Please feel free to post comments below, ask your questions. I will do my very best to answer your questions. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer. So, with that being said, I don't know what else I really got to say other than, we're Americans. And I know that I got some viewers from outside the country. A lot of countries don't have gun rights like we do. In Canada, uh, their gun ownership ability is at the whim of the government. We don't have that problem. Okay, our gun ownership is a right. A lot of countries had their rights taken from them, had their firearms taken from them for the illusion of security. Okay, and we shouldn't cave to an illusion. Let's stand together. Let's get together. Let's fight for what's right. Let's protect the kids. Let's protect the schools. Let's harden targets, guys. The spokesperson for the president said he's not in favor of hardening schools. I don't understand where he finds these people. I'm sure they're just speaking what he's saying, but I don't think that's necessarily their beliefs, but they are working for him. Um, Hardening the targets is an important aspect of security. Okay, we we can't have soft targets. Okay, look at that Buffalo, the shooting that happened in Buffalo at the supermarket. That supermarket had an armed guard who went out and engaged that shooter. He lost his life protecting not the store's money, the customers at the store. Okay, all that money, all that merchandise, that's all insured, guys. The life of the people there, the lives of those people, that's not insured. That can't be replaced. Okay. So let's harden the targets that are vulnerable. Let's harden schools. Make it more difficult for people to go in and do these shootings. Let's make people think twice about doing something like this. Okay. Putting up a gun free zone sign doesn't stop a shooting. All it does is stop people from being able to shoot back. Okay. That's what it does. Now, a lot of schools, I think every school in Massachusetts has a school resource officer. Um, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, and your town needs to implement school resource officers. But those school resource officers are only there sometimes. A lot of these school resource officers split their time between the schools and regular police duties. And that's fine, but what happens the rest of that time? Now, the average response time for a 911 call is between 3 and 33 minutes. So think about this. I don't know how many people have done live fire and have been in situations where they were under fire. But if you're in a situation where people are shooting, 3 minutes is a long time. Okay. And if you're sitting there waiting for help, you feel like you're waiting forever. When they finally get there, you're like, what took so long? We got here in 3 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes, it's a long time. It's a long time in those situations. Okay. It's not one of those situations where you're like, oh my God, didn't this just start? And now you guys are here. They're like, no, we got here in 5 minutes. Oh, gee, it seems pretty quick to me. No. Um, so let's do something. Let's contact your legislators. Tell them that you do not support stripping the Second Amendment. Tell them that you do not support these uh, gun control laws that aren't going to work. Okay. Gun control legislation isn't going to disarm criminals. It's only going to disarm law abiding people. Okay. I want you to get them to make all the criminals turn in their firearms. And then we can talk about whether or not I should have to turn in some of mine. But not until we make sure that every single criminal in this country is disarmed. As long as the criminals can be armed, we can be armed and we need to be armed. Okay. And again, none of us want to use a firearm in self defense, but we need to be ready to do so if the situation arises. All right. So until next time, guys, stay safe and peace.